Folks, have you ever been in the checkout line at your local TJ Maxx, Marshalls, or whatever your regional equivalent of a Ross Dress for Less is, and thought to yourself, you know what would go great here? You know what would go really, really well here? What would totally hit along with these socks, skincare, and like random selection of fragrances? Frogz. Like living frogs. No, I'm being dead ass. They are selling frogs in the checkout line. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating a little. They're selling frogs at the checkout line at Petco, which is technically a pet supply store, but also technically a merchant of pet death. Here's the situation. Over the last couple of weeks, people have been noticing these cardboard displays advertising desk pets popping up at their local Petco right before checkout. Which, look, I may not be the biggest champion of PETA in the world, alright? But I'm pretty sure that frogs are complex and beautiful living creatures, not impulse purchases that should be stocked between the Trident and Three Musketeers.
I went to Petco the other day to grab a few supplies for the rest of the animals, and I noticed that they are now selling Pac-Man frogs and advertising them as desk pets. The Pac-Man frogs were inside these tiny plastic enclosures that are okay for temporary use. However, it was literally like the size of my hand, if not smaller. There are multiple things wrong with these displays, and let me explain to you guys why. Pac-Man frogs will definitely require something bigger than just your desk. Although their enclosure probably could fit on a desk, that little tiny plastic tub is not for forever. Juveniles require a 10-gallon minimum, while adults require a 20-gallon minimum. They also require a low wattage heat source.
Okay, you get the point. There is no such thing as a totally stress-free beginner pet. First of all, a 20-gallon tank for a full-grown Pac-Man frog. Okay, technically that does fit on a desk, but not like comfortably, I would say. Also, Pac-Man frogs, not to be confused with the 1980s video game character Pac-Man, which is the last time your father felt something. But I mean, a 20-gallon tank for a normal rectangular enclosure is like a 24 by 18-inch base, which for my European viewers, that's about a 0.000003 football fields. And that's actually correct, by the way. That's accurate. I did the math. But even this desk that I'm sitting at is 48 by 24 inches. I know, by the way, because I measured. All right, I got a measuring tape. You've heard of Bob the Builder. All right, I'm Marc the Measurer. But I did the math, and a 20-gallon tank would take up half my desk, basically. Almost half. That's not a desk pet. That's a pet whose tank could be a desk. But Petco knows that, which is why they put in the tiniest font possible on those frog boxes that the box itself is only temporary, because the implication of the desk pet is clearly that you can just keep the frog in that box that you buy it in. So this is some bullshit, okay? And I've seen this story get a lot of play on the animal lover side of TikTok, but it really hasn't broken containment yet. No pun intended. Guys, but before we get into that, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Free Cash. Do y'all like playing games on your phone? Yes, you do. Don't lie to me. Now, what if you could get paid to play games on your phone? Sounds pretty sick, doesn't it? With Free Cash, you can get paid to play games, complete surveys, and do simple tasks. Turn your spare time, bathroom time, doom scrolling time into money time. Here's how it works. Once you create an account, you get access to all the game offers available, and you pick one to get started. I picked Monopoly Go because the rewards seemed good, but also because who doesn't love Monopoly? I simply started playing while Free Cash tracked my progress towards different earning rewards. And Free Cash also provides cash back on in-app purchases if you do want to speed your progress along and maximize your earnings as you level up faster. Just make sure app tracking is enabled so they can actually log your progress. Once you make $25, you go through the super simple withdrawal process, whether it be to Venmo, an Amazon gift card, even your own bank account. And after that initial cash out, there's no minimum cash out requirement afterwards. And with a 4.7-star rating on Trustpilot and over 250 million paid out to users already, it's a great time to try Free Cash. You can use my link below or scan the QR code on your screen to get a $10 bonus after you complete your first offer, available in all of these countries. Get started today, and thank you again to Free Cash for sponsoring this video. So a YouTuber by the name of Emzotic, who is an animal expert and former zookeeper, went out of their way and did the reconnaissance on this desk pet situation. And I wanted to take a look at a little bit of this.
There they are. right by the checkout. This is prime impulse buy territory. This is the same zone where customers make fast, emotional decisions on items that are usually seasonal or on clearance. And seeing live animals merchandised here is honestly jarring.
Okay, now, I don't know if she put the Lego minifigures on the other side of the display for illustrative purposes, but if they actually are selling Legos on the other side of the frog shelf, that is crazy work. And again, I'm no frogaholic, but are these frogs supposed to be sitting out in tiny, musty, non-temperature controlled boxes for like days at a time?
Pac-Man frogs do not stay this tiny. They're essentially a mouth with feet, and their whole mission in life is food. Because of this, they grow very quickly. They need humidity, substrate depth, heating considerations, hides, fresh water, and species-appropriate husbandry. This enclosure may function as a temporary transport packaging, but it is not a long-term setup.
Yeah, but Petco don't give a about any of that. I didn't even know these frogs grew, by the way, when I first saw this, and I thought it was weird. But now knowing that these full grown are like the size of your hand. And also, again, according to Google, so if any real frog ball knowers want to correct me, feel free. But apparently with care, these things can live up to 10 to 15 years, which is crazy to have that as a checkout line impulse buy. There is nobody who's picking up one of these boxes and thinking, yeah, I'm definitely signing myself up for a 15-year-long commitment here. Yeah, honey, I was getting litter for the cat, and I figured I'd get us a frog too, which will be taken care of until 2041. Bullshit. And that's why it's with care these things will live to be 15 years old. Because with the care of somebody who bought one because it was $40 and they were bored, Mr. Ribbit here will be lucky to see 15 weeks.
And then I noticed something that rocked me so deeply that it practically rearranged my DNA. These frogs are labeled as reptiles.
Huh? Dude, what the is going on at Petco? Listen, your whole business is about providing for animals, and you guys didn't even know that frogs were amphibians? This is third grade science shit, okay? I just know that the guy who made this packaging was one of those like, oh, school is dumb, they never even teach us things that matter in the real world. Yeah, Derek, well now you're in the real world, and your job is to design stickers for Petco, and you labeled a frog as a reptile, and now I'm upset.
I was literally able to walk around the store carrying this frog, and it occurred to me how easy it would be for an animal to become misplaced, abandoned somewhere, mishandled, or otherwise put at risk. And in case you're wondering, nobody stopped me to check if I had anything necessary to keep this frog alive.
It's insane. And M pointed out too, of like, if you're buying a pet at checkout, what is the likelihood that you're actually going to go backtrack into the store to buy all the things that you need to take care of that pet? Probably pretty low. And I also, again, from Google, but I took a look at the supply list for a Pac-Man frog, and it is not short at all. Apparently, frogs need calcium and vitamin D supplements, and I'm assuming you can't just drop your own into the enclosure. Can you imagine a frog with a human dose of vitamin D? Bro will probably start glowing. But as a test, M goes up to Petco employees and is like, hey, what do I need to take care of one of these things? And everyone basically just stares at her. Which, yeah, at the end of the day, Petco is a retail store that happens to sell live animals. Which, yes, FYI, if you're not aware, Petco sells, like, small animals. So, fish and reptiles, gerbils, that kind of thing. But a criticism of them has always been, and while I'm sure, again, a lot of pet lovers do work there, but you don't have to be Steve Irwin to get a job as a retail associate. So a lot of animals at their locations can be, sad, ill, neglected, basically just waiting for the sweet release of death. Which aren't we all, frankly. But Petco and other big chain pet stores buy animals from wholesalers who are breeding them for the lowest cost possible, so you don't really know what you're getting. I myself had a series of goldfish from Petco as a kid, and I think I was like a year or two in, and we were going to Petco to get me a third goldfish because the first two had died. And I picked the biggest goldfish that they had in the tank, took it home, and it was dead within 24 hours. At which point my dad was kind of just like, can we wrap this up, man? He literally did like the hand on your shoulder meme of like, your fish is in heaven, son, or something. I don't know. Did you outgrow this yet? How about we get a cat instead? And we did get a cat. Shout out to my cat. But I want to highlight too, in fairness, that there are Petco locations that are not down with this shit. Where I guess local managers or just store employees got their desk pet set up from corporate and went, yeah, no, we're not doing all that.
They didn't have a kiosk near the checkout in the impulse section. Theirs was near the reptile section, and it was empty. I had to know more.
I was reading online some stuff about the desk pet thing that was going on. And
we're not participating in desk pets.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're not.
That is the sound of a man who has been dealing with corporate's bullshit for like 2 decades now. What are you looking for? Desk pets? Yeah, we don't do that here. Respect, man, but it shouldn't have to come down to like individual employees, essentially rebelling against corporate. And the only measurable response I've seen from Petco themselves is now some stores have this sign up saying, "Don't forget my future home," and to talk to a store associate. But that really ain't good enough because this entire concept is spiritually chopped. This internal company notice from Petco's chief veterinarian was also leaked about the controversy, and it reads like a PR statement full of bullshit and corporate gobbledygook that just completely ignores all of Petco's employees' genuine concerns about this whole concept. I read the entire thing and it is literally just doublespeak about why the pets in the normal enclosures in the back of the store deserve to have one level of care versus the desk pets in the front of the store don't get the same kind of food, water, temperature control, etc. And basically, according to Petco's chief veterinarian, and according to Petco's chief vet, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's because f*** you, we love money. And this document also goes on to basically place the burden of making sure that the desk pets aren't abused by random customers or like kids shaking their boxes. It puts that on the employees, saying that they should be monitoring the displays, which I'm sure is just what you need as like a underpaid retail worker. In addition to your 800 other duties, you also need to be making sure Sid from Toy Story doesn't kill the frogs at the checkout line. And to be fair, they are also selling spiders at the desk pet displays for like $35. And my understanding from Animal Talk is that spiders can actually be desk pets. That does make sense. But I'm not going to speak on that because I would never pay $35 for a spider. I kill one of those for free about once a week. All love to my spider people though, and again, don't bother explaining to me why your spider is special and different from the one that keeps crawling out of my drain. I don't care. I'm not f***ing Peter Parker, okay? Respectfully. This whole thing is just strange, man. Petco, and it puts people who do love animals and go to Petco in the like weird position of finding a spider or frog that's in distress and wanting to buy it because they feel bad. But then, of course, if they do buy it, they are sending a signal to Petco corporate that people do like this whole desk pet thing, and in fact, they should put more frogs in Chinese takeout boxes. And on the other hand, seeing TikToks of people who did impulse purchase a frog and now have Master Yoda propped up in their cubicle giving them side-eye, like, what the Janet, I'm gonna die of thirst in the corporate offices of Hertz Rent-A-Car. It's just mind-boggling to me. And again, I'm a moron who knows nothing about animals, besides that frogs are not reptiles. But even with my brain-dead 7th grade earth sciences understanding of the animal kingdom, I feel like I have enough information to look at the desk pets display and go, there's something wrong. There's something wrong with that picture.
I just learned about Petco's desk pets. They're Pac-Man frogs in a box. Pac-Man frogs? That's like why of all the creatures you could put into a little box. Oh God, we thought we hated the beta cups. What is this? That is literally the most irresponsible shit I've ever seen Petco do. What are we doing?
And apparently, as this person mentions, this is not the only time Petco, or just Big Pet in general, has gotten into some controversy about unnecessarily, simplifying, I guess, the pet adoption process. Because there's also a movement to end beta cups, which there are these like colorful beta fish, maybe you've heard of this, but they get sold in small water cups, where if they aren't fed and their water changed often, things quickly turn into a house of aquatic horrors. And like I said, not just Petco who does this. Apparently the fish are like super violent and will end up like killing each other if they end up in the same tank, so you kind of have to separate them. It's just that separating them, in your mother's leftover Tupperware, is not the best, I think. Again, some mom and pop stores do this too. This whole beta fish thing seems controversial based on what I've read. And I haven't been in a pet store in like 10 years, so I'm not gonna take a hard stance on this one. But at a bare minimum to me, seeing like fish dying in plastic cups, it seems like there's room for improvement somewhere here. I'll link Beta World for Betas below, which is a beta fish advocacy group, if you want to read more about it. I know nothing about this organization. This is not an endorsement, but their name is cool, and that's how I decide which causes I care about. And I will also link the change.org petition asking Petco to discontinue the desk pets below as well. Do petitions work? I don't know. Did we ever get Coney? I haven't followed up on that one. But it takes 3 seconds, so just do it. Stop being a contrarian. But okay, there's 2 things with this whole situation that I'd like to highlight. Number 1, the TikTokification of exotic pets is truly fascinating, and I know a lot of commentary has been made on this subject, but honestly, going on TikTok and seeing people turning their homes into where the wild things are, oftentimes just for likes or because it's part of their content strategy, is crazy. Like, you also have a toucan in your living room serving side eye. Is this really necessary?
Put a diaper on my house peacock with me. He's a pet, he lives in the house. I put a plastic baggie in it to make cleanup easier. Let me seal it up and put it out on the porch every night. I need another diaper made for him, and the lady who made it went out of business. She was located in Canada.
Okay, here's the question, right? And again, I'm not saying you're a bad person for this or anything of the sort, but truly, when you are in your kitchen, putting a diaper on your pet peacock, complaining to TikTok that the peacock diaper factory went out of business, do you not, at a certain point, step back and reevaluate your life, you know, and how you got there? And also, Peacock Diaper Company, guys, you can make money doing anything now. I mean, not for forever, apparently, since the factory went under. But, you know, you can make money for a little while doing anything. This whole thing also reminded me of Tara's World, that influencer from a previous video who crashed out about the halter top. But she also had that weird sexual fascination with her exotic bird. It's weird. It's weird. I'm sorry, if you live on a farm and this is like your whole thing, having animals, then yeah, sure. But why did you buy a skunk for your apartment? Ma'am, that is a skunk. And she also named the skunk Skank and made a TikTok page called Skank the Skunk, which feels insensitive, to say the least. There's just something about people buying exotic pets. It reminds me of humans, you know, deciding to have a child to save their marriage. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, your life is meaningless, and we're all gonna die. Dragging a wild animal into it does not make your life any more interesting. It's like when Game of Thrones was popping off and everybody wanted to be Jon Snow with a direwolf. So everybody went out and bought huskies, which are like very high energy dogs that they didn't know how to take care of, leading to a 400% increase in homeless and abandoned huskies, to the point that cast members of the show were cutting PSAs asking people to stop getting these dogs if they didn't know how to take care of them. So, you know, I don't know. I feel like we have plenty of low maintenance or just domesticated animals in general that are cute and normal and can live in your house without being in 24/7 distress. And unless you're Diego, you should probably just stick to those. And my second point, and I haven't found the right terminology for this yet. I don't know what this phenomenon is called. We can call it, you know, little treats, treat slop, Labubuification. But basically, because nobody has money right now, I think everybody's discretionary spending is just going into impulse purchases, which has made every corporation under the sun now racing to find a way to package their goods as a, you know, little treat impulse purchase. Now every single luxury brand is doing like a coffee concept. The newest treat psyop in New York City is a dot cake. It's a recession indicator. And now Petco is essentially doing pet blind boxes. Like, that's kind of what it is. I actually feel like I'm giving them an idea. Pretty soon they're gonna be selling the frogs in a black box, so you don't even know what color it is until you get home. Gotta collect them all. And honestly, even right now, they're basically blind boxes because all the frogs are burying themselves in the dirt because they're probably having a panic attack on the store floor. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we can chalk this one up to like, the horrors persist, but so does Petco. Things could always be worse, guys. You know, you could be a Petco Pac-Man frog. Sure, you live at your desk, but at least you don't live on it. Guys, real quick before you go, once again, don't forget to check out Free Cash. You can use my link below or scan the QR code on your screen to get that $10 bonus after you complete your first offer, available in all these countries. Thank you again to Free Cash.